I'm just testing out the potential new vlogging setup. I'm loving the way this the lens looks. So I need to find somewhere a bit quieter to vlog. I'm on a road. It's a really quiet road, but I'm very exposed, and I don't feel confident actually doing my next vlog entry here. So I'm going to move off, but I thought I'd use my car roof to position the camera so I can at least see how this records. But this is a new beginning, so this whole revolution, this journey, this process, this project, it's going to be full of beginnings, endings, and I think this is a new phase. I think this is a new part of that journey. So we'll see where it goes, but for the time being I'm just going to go, and the car coming now. So a car just caught me unawares. I panicked. I just took my camera, my Panasonic G7, off the roof of my car because a car came, and I just tried to pretend that I was doing normal videography. But I'm going to move from this spot. Bit concerned. There's some cows in the field just here. And they're coming to the stream. I don't think there's any way they can get anywhere near me, but I'm a bit fearful of cows. They're a bit too curious. They're a bit too curious for my liking, and they're big animals. So I've come out to a place called Kottersbrook. I may have mentioned it in the past, and it's a poignant place to come, I think, for me. Probably about 2-3 years ago, maybe 3-4 years ago even, when I was really struggling, when all my difficulties, my anxiety began, I used to come off to Kottersbrook, and it's a place in Northamptonshire where it genuinely feels like there's no one else around, which is hard to come by a place like that in Northamptonshire or anywhere in England, really, because there's so many roads, there's so many built up areas. Even the countryside isn't really that remote. But I come here because, number one, they've got a lot of poplar trees and aspens, which are my favourite trees. I'm in a place you might be able to hear the rustling of some of the poplars and aspens. And so I have to come here for peace, and this is one of the first places I came to when I was really struggling. And I still come from time to time to just listen to the trees, to be surrounded by nature, by the countryside. It's beautiful as well. There's lots of rolling hills. It's kind of every English, British, Scottish, Welsh poet's dream, the landscape around here. I know that John Clare actually did write an awful lot about the local countryside, and I can understand why. I've had a lot of barriers with my vlogumentary, my vlogumentary. I've really been struggling with my technology. My laptop's so slow, so it takes an age anyway, but my Google Pixel XL, the first one, broke, as I probably mentioned. It stopped recording sound, it stopped making any sound, and it really, created a barrier for my vlog entries because I was predominantly using my phone. Well, I was always using my phone. After a lot of thought, I decided to buy a Google Pixel 2, which is really old by today's standards because the Google Pixel 4 will be coming out soon. I've been trying to be a lot better with my finances, and so I saved up a little bit of money because I knew I'd need a new phone. And when I say a little, I mean a little amount of money. And I got the Google Pixel 2. But that created more barriers because that didn't have, I was planning to use a lavalier mic, but it didn't quite work. And the Google Pixel XL2 is not the best for sound quality. I don't mind using it for filming, but for sound quality it was poor, and so I couldn't realistically use any of the footage from it. In my moment of weirdness, when I was spending lots of money, we're going back a year or two ago, I was right in the middle of my anxiety, low mood, stress, everything else. And at that time, I think as a symptom of that, I was spending lots of money I didn't have, and sometimes I actually felt a little bit manic. I remember purchasing a Panasonic G7, which I'm filming with right now, and I felt a little bit crazed. I felt it was a weird, strange feeling. But I remember giggling to myself quite maniacally. It was a very strange time. But I think, there's a plane. I think at the time I was struggling so badly that I was trying to get those hits of excitement that perhaps people with kind of manic depression feel, where they can go and spend lots of money and do quite radical things. And I almost felt a little bit manic when I was buying things that I couldn't afford, I think, to try and make myself feel a little bit better. But also I had these ideas that, I'd buy these things and they would help with the project that I was starting to think about. I was starting to think about this fear project, and I thought, well, maybe at some point they'll come in handy. And so I went and spent lots of money. I bought a Panasonic G7 because that was an affordable camera, for a 4K camera to do decent filming on. I bought a Rode Video Mic Pro, which was an affordable microphone, which I'm using right now. And I bought a Joby Gorilla Pod, which I'm using again right now. And initially I was going to use all of these right from the very beginning for the vloggumentaries, but I like the idea of just using a smartphone and just getting out there and just producing content that anybody could do. But recently, with all of the barriers, with the phone breaking, with the issues with the sound, I just thought, you know what, I'm just going to start using the Panasonic G7. And so this is the first time I'm using it for one of the vloggumentaries. And I do feel a bit sad because I did want to be, super authentic by using a smartphone. But again, perhaps I'm looking for signs when there are no such things as signs, only me attributing meaning to things that go on in my life, the stimuli, the events. But it works for me at the moment. Whether I'm talking nonsense and those events are just random, I'm going to attribute some meaning to them. Whether they are meaningful or not, whether they are part of a purpose, a pathway, a guiding force or not, I'm still going to attribute meaning to it. So I thought to myself, no, this is a sign. Let's just use the Panasonic G7. Let's start creating some content with it. At the end of the day, it is going to be more practical because actually just put in the yeah, I think that's what it's called, the Rode Video Mic Pro, but just putting that on top of the camera and just getting the camera and filming is just going to be actually a lot more straightforward than having to set up a audio video recorder and sync the audio after to my video footage from any smartphone that I was going to use. And so I've come out today to just have a little play around. Quite pleased actually, because again, like my weird avoidant behaviour that I've been experiencing I mean, I've had this camera now, I must have had it for about 18 months to 2 years. I've barely touched it. I've used it once when I went out with the family. But it's weird, I've been avoidant about using it. It's like I've got fear to do anything with it. And I was hiding it. I was hiding it in my house because I just thought that it was going to get burgled. I thought somebody's going to come in and take it, and all of that money's going to be down the drain. And so I was hiding it, but because it was out of sight, it was out of mind. So I think I need to, stop being so weird, stop being so avoidant. As well as being avoidant and worried about it being stolen, I was actually being a bit precious with it, because it is probably the most expensive thing I've ever paid for, other than my laptop. And I just felt that I didn't want to break it. But I think it's like the analogy of having a new pair of shoes that you love, that you just want to stare at, that you want to covet, and then you end up growing out of those shoes. And I wasn't getting any use from it because I was just being very precious about it. And I've got to try not to be worried and fearful. I've got to be fearless to just use the camera. I mean, it's a poor example of fearlessness and the effects of fear, but at the same time, I think it shows that fear is in almost every decision, every thought that we have, from the very big things such as that person's going to shoot me to actually, am I going to use this camera? Is it going to get broken or scratched? Am I good enough to use the camera? Are people going to judge me using a Panasonic G7 instead of my smartphone? So I've just got to stop being avoidant, being so precious, being so concerned about the outcomes, and just do stuff. Sometimes I've always said that there's a time to do and there's a time to contemplate and think. And I think at the moment, with regards to this, I think it's a case of just do. I mean, these vlogumentary entries, these vlogs, are about behind the scenes. They're what's going on. So I need to be clear that when I'm filming, it's not just about me saying, "Oh, I'm struggling." It's got to be about saying what I've been doing with regards to this project, this revolution. So this last week has been about me getting used to the camera settings. Trying to get a profile that I'm quite happy with. I did consider colour grading and things like that, but I've got to be honest, I am, at this point, I'm not going to be doing colour grading. I need to find a setting from the camera that's going to be good. I've gone for natural setting, I've gone for a few tweaks here and there with the contrast and the colour, but I need to make my processes a lot simpler than perhaps other people's, because I've got a slow computer. I really have no idea about colour grading. I'm very limited in my knowledge about editing, so I just need to, at this point, just keep things as simple as possible. It takes time to look at those things, but I think I am now beginning to get an idea of my timetable for doing everything. I've decided, I'm going to scrap the early mornings in the week. It's too hard, it's too difficult when I've got work. I need to be able to focus, and I cannot focus when I know that I've got to go to work in the day. I get stressed. I need to minimise my stress as much as possible, and I wasn't getting as much time as I thought I might. I was getting about an hour's worth of work. So what I've decided to do is on a Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday and a Thursday, sometimes the Thursday I will change, but mostly on a Monday, Tuesday and Wednesday and sometimes a Thursday, I've been working into the evening, in the evening times. So once I've done all my chores, which I've discussed before, I'd sit down for about 8 o'clock, sometimes 8:30 in the evening, and from 8:30 till about 10:30, sometimes 11, I've been doing the project-based work. And project-based work in this week has been fiddling around with the camera. I didn't want to spend ages and ages when I was out filming trying to figure out stuff. So I spent a week just trying to work out the camera settings, and I think that's been helpful. And so that's what I'm doing today, really. This is like a field test. This is a field test to see how things go, to try and increase my workflow, my efficiency. I decided to get a larger SD card for this, which I'm really pleased about, because actually it seems to be filming for a lot longer. And also I bought an SD card reader, which I tried in the week, and it was incredible how much quicker it transferred the files from the camera onto my laptop. Any way that I can improve the speed and the efficiency is only going to be a good thing, because like I say, I'm slow anyway. I'm a slow human being. So if I can do anything with regards to the technology that I'm using to increase my speed, then that's going to be good for me. Before I leave, I'm just going to check the walking around with a bit of a wider angle lens. The 25mm lens is just going to be too close. I wanted to use the pancake lens and test that out whilst I was walking around, but in all honesty, I couldn't, because I need an ND filter for that. But because this goes down to 14mm, so it's still quite wide, the kit lens, it'll do for now just to see what it looks like. So I'm just testing it now. It's a lot harder to hold than a smartphone, but at least I'll get an idea of what it might be like walking around. I think it's doing a good job so far. It's a bit overexposed at the back, but that's to be expected. I don't know if there's image stabilization in this, but yeah, so far so good. I've had a few barriers, a few problems with the smartphone, but hopefully this is going to be a solution to that. Hopefully, me testing this out, it'll only get better. It'll just improve the quality. And I think this is the important thing. I realised I was doing a lot of moaning. Looking back, even the most recent season that I've been working on, there's not been much change. I've not progressed. It's been very similar to the first season, where I was complaining a lot about my mental well-being. And I think with all of these issues that have come along and having to problem solve that with using the Panasonic camera, and just rethinking how I'm doing everything, I think actually it's been quite helpful, because I realised that I hadn't progressed. That maybe people don't want to just see somebody struggling with no change. I've decided with this change, with these changes, with this progression of using the Panasonic, I'm actually going to try and also not lie about my struggle, because the struggle's still there, but at least try to show progress in that area as well, because I've decided I am all in this project. I am all in. This is my therapy, as I've probably suggested in the past. This is my therapy, and I do believe in it. And if I don't believe in it now, if I don't believe that somehow some good will come of this, then I'm never going to believe in it. And if that doesn't make me feel a little bit better, if that doesn't help me progress so that when I'm having my bad days, my bad weeks, I can get through it, then I don't know what will help me. And so I'm hoping this is a turning point. This is going to show a progression not only in the vlogs, in the vlogumentary, but also in myself. And I think it's a long time coming. You know, I do not want to be in a year's time in the same place complaining about my situation. I actually want to be saying, okay, that was useful at the time. Like, it was useful, feeling all those things, still feeling what I'm feeling now. It's driving me to want things to be different. It's driving me to want to improve myself and the world around me. So I'm not regretful of that time, of those times, of that expression, but I've got to have a bit of self-awareness, a bit of self-mastery, and not subject other people to that level of misery and struggle, because that's not going to help people either. That is not going to help other people, seeing somebody who is not progressing, who is not making those changes. Because at the end of the day, I think just me talking on camera in these vlogumentaries about my struggle, I think that's part of the cycle. I think that is reinforcing those feelings. And I've got to break that cycle myself. And so hopefully this is going to be helpful in breaking that cycle. So we'll see. We'll see how things go. We'll know in about 6 months' time whether this was a turning point or not. But I'm hopeful. And I've always had, right from the beginning, the reason why I've kept doing this, the reason why I've kept, sort of being open and honest about my struggle, is because I've always had hope. I've always had belief that this is the right course. But now it's time to take it to that next level, I think. I've decided actually I'm going to be a little bit more deliberate in these vlogumentaries. So I'm not just going to be picking up a camera and just ranting and rambling. I don't know if people just want to see chaotic ramblings and rants and expressions. I'm not saying there won't ever be times when there's just open ramblings and rants and chaotic expressions. I'm not saying that isn't the case, but I think I need to be a little bit more considered. I need to be a little bit more deliberate, because I think that's part of being a self-aware being, about being truly conscious, which is a significant theme that will run throughout this project, this revolution against fear. Is a need, a necessity to be more conscious, to be cultivating free will and having self-awareness. So I think it's important that going forward, that the footage isn't just going to be improved, but also the content as well. So I'm hoping that there will be a beginning, middle and an end. I'm hoping that I won't just be rambling aimlessly. Hopefully I'll have some points to this vlogumentary entries. I did worry that might impact on the authenticity of everything, but being deliberate is not being contrived, I don't think. I think being deliberate is being self-aware, cultivating free will. There's nothing worse in my head than being inauthentic. And I don't think I will ever be inauthentic. It's for somebody with anxiety to have, put random videos on YouTube. There's absolutely no chance that there's any inauthenticity in me. I'm doing this out of necessity, out of a desire to really do something in the world. And I believe that this project, to look at fear, to expose it, to highlight it, to write it, to fight it, I really believe that this is my calling in life. I really believe that this is what I should have always been doing, or this is the purpose of my existence. I think this is what's going to help people the most. This is what's going to help me. This is what's going to help me self-actualize. I mean, there's no doubt about it. This isn't just a completely altruistic project. I need to feel like I'm going to self-actualize, and self-actualize by doing good in the world and changing society for the better. So though I may have worried that by no longer having these just open chaotic ramblings might impact on the authenticity, I know in my heart that me wanting to do good, to make a difference, it's the driving force. I can never be inauthentic while that's in my soul, in my heart, in my very core of my being. So I think today is a turning point. This week was not just about practicing for the vlogumentaries. I'm nearly ready to start putting out the formal videos, which are going to set out my basic ideas, and that's going to be key. That's going to be a key introduction to the foundations for all of this. I've said all I've got to say. The struggle's still there, but hopefully we're turning a corner, and that's it. It's me done.